Yogi Gorakh Nath, Guru Buddhanath Ji, with Gorakh Sabadis, the sayings of Gorakh Nath. Sabadi number 1. Basatī na sunyam, sunyam na basatī, agama agocara aisā, gagana-sikhara mahĩ bālaka bolai, tākā dharahuge kaisā. Translation by Bhagwan Nath and myself, Yogi Gorakh Nath. Neither the manifesting nor emptiness, neither emptiness nor the manifesting, not known, not sensed, so high in the firmament the child speaks, who can name him? Explanation in English. In this very first Sabadi, Gorakh Nath clears the all of the philosophic field in brief, so that the whole of the journey is to the point, right, not misguided, not misled, not somewhere in the wrong. The first step is the last step in a way. So our first right step, we are on the very first step, we are rightly on the way. To be clear about it, to be transparent about it, is very important. So here Gorakh says that by pointing the totality of existence, the existence as a whole, Gorakh declares that it is fundamentally divided, distinctly divided into three planes, three distinct planes. The first plane is basatī, that is the manifesting space and time, name and form. The second plane is, he says that, is emptiness, sunyata, sunyã. Emptiness, nothingness in itself. Nothingness not created by thought, but nothingness in itself. And the third plane, absolute plane, supreme intelligence. Somebody may say God, Allah, Ishwar, etc. That plane, or nirvanic plane, absolute nirvanic plane. And Gorakh says about that, it is like getting revealed, like the speech of a child in the inner firmament, in emptied consciousness. How it gets emptied is explained throughout the Sabadis. So, in the fire of observation, that is emptiness, shunyata, with the alak sense, that is freedom from the known by knowing its place in day-to-day life and its limit otherwise psychologically, that is consciously coming to and living innocence. Innocence implies presence. It also implies insight into impermanence, that everything is changing. That is anityabodh. The alak sense and anityabodh are the fundamentals of Siddhas and Buddhas. The sense of Siddhas and Buddhas, or of Gorakh and the Buddha, Siddhartha Buddha, is basically absolutely the same, though in Buddha, in the literature of Siddhartha Buddha, in the Deshana or teachings of Siddhartha Buddha, the matter of consciousness in which we learn about life from alpha to omega as a whole, all through, is distinctly explained, explored and explained. While in Gorakh, and it is very extensive, literature is very extensive, wide. But the literature of Gorakh, this Gorakh Sabadis, the sayings of Gorakh Nath, is most compact yet complete, and most compact yet acute and complete. And this is the beauty of Gorakh. So, the awakening of absolute plane in the emptied self, in the fire of observation, that is emptiness, with the alak sense and anityabodh implied, that is the absorption of space and time, psychological contents of what we are, and that is the emptying, unburdening of consciousness. We being representative of life, not separated part of life, we being a part of the life as a whole, in space and time as it is we are part of the life as a whole, but in space and time. Emptiness is not automatically there. It may be there, but unless we awaken to emptiness consciously, it cannot work. So understanding the place of thought and desire, that is time, in day-to-day life, without which daily life is impossible. So understanding its place in day-to-day life and its limits psychologically, so freedom from the known, from thought, and to be coming to so consciously, insightfully to the presence of mind, observing whatever is happening within and around. We feel life on in the body from within and from around. So when we are aware of the body, which expresses, the body expresses the movement of the mind, the consciousness. So the awareness of body, being awake, alert, aware of what happens in the body, on the body. So that way, consciously being aware of, with freedom from, with the elections, with freedom from the known, and that is this every time moving, changing. So being aware of this change, this language of feelings, universal language, content of consciousness, layers after layers that they are boiling. So being aware of that with the elections, with freedom from the known, that is itself, that presence with innocence, consciously living it, itself is emptiness, or in that there is the awakening of emptiness, bodhi, on its own, then and there from nowhere. And in that bodhi, that emptiness has the power to absorb whatever is being watched, being observed, being attended, this stream of life, into nothing, into itself. That is how the emptying of the consciousness happens, and space and time, or name and form, gets transformed, not in transit by thought and desire, but in the flame of attention, in meditation, getting transformed into nothing, into emptiness, into intelligence, and that is our regeneration. And so through the absolute emptying of the consciousness, there is the awakening of supreme truth, what a nirvanic truth. And about that, in the very first Sabadi, Gorakh says that it's like high in the firmament, the child speaks. The awakening, the awakening of nibbanic truth is like a speech of a child, a newly born child. Who can name him, or who can describe that? So about nirvanic truth, supreme truth, God, Allah, Ishwar, somebody may say. Gorakh in the very first Sabadi says that no description, no chattering, no blah blah about that, all futile. So these are so simple. Sabadis are to the ground. They are grounded. They are not imaginary things. So we read the comment in English to explain it in further details briefly. Here Gorakh simply says that the manifesting, or name and form, and emptiness, timelessness, divine fire, or bodhi are distinct realities, that they are altogether different planes of existence. That is, Gorakh declares that the totality of existence is absolutely divided into three different planes. In the Sabadis, it is explained that the self is a part of the manifesting. The self is the part of the manifesting, or of name and form. And our right meditation, observation, with the elections, with insight into impermanence, is the awakening of emptiness into the self, into the consciousness, in which the self is being absorbed into emptiness, into nothing. The awakening of divine fire and the dying of the self, the ending of the self, the ending of time, dying of the self, is explained in these Sabadis throughout. Gorakh hardly ever speaks about an absolute or supreme plane, simply likening its unfolding to the speech of a child in the inner firmament, in the consciousness. emptied consciousness, in the emptied self that cannot be named or described. Gorakh shows the very first step that supreme truth is neither the manifesting nor emptiness, which he indicates through repetition that innocence or the alexence and insight into impermanence, insight into the alexence and impermanence, anitya bodh, is the basis of inquiry, of learning. Agama means not known. Agama. Gama means to know. Agama, that is unknown, not that cannot be known by sense organs on their own. Agama means not known, the unknown. Agocara, agama, agocara. So gochar means sense organs. Agochar means not graspable by the sense organs, including thinking, on their own. So not known and not graspable by the sense organs on their own. Supreme truth is said to be agama, agocara. Emptiness is beyond the reach of the sense organs on their own, but the alexence and implying insight into anitya bodh, impermanence, change, but the alexence and anitya bodh, which ensures the presence of the mind, implies, which ensures, which clears the way to presence of the mind, unconditionally, innocently. So, emptiness is beyond the reach of the sense organs on their own, but the alexence and the presence of the mind, despite its chattering, is wholeness. And here is the awakening of emptiness by itself from nowhere, in which the mind gets insight and is open to receive it any time, is open to receive emptiness, bodhi, intelligence, and to awaken it on its own. It is open. It frees itself from the known by knowing its place and limit, so it is open to attain what is happening, and that way for the awakening of bodhi or intelligence, that is emptiness, shunyata, on its own. Some readers may feel or think that because of double use of neither nor in the Sabadi, it is to do with Nagarjuna's logical analytical karikas. However, know that this Sabadi or this Gorakh Sabadi is nothing to do with Nagarjuna or Mahayana, Vajrayana, Tantrayana, and so on. Of course, the sense of Buddha and Gorakh is absolutely the same. Mahayana, Vajrayana, Tantrayana, etc. are later developments. The Buddha doesn't know about about Mahayana, Vajrayana, Tantrayana, etc., etc. And Gorakh and Siddhas have nothing to do with Mahayana, Vajrayana, Tantrayana, etc. The Buddha in Thera, or the original Buddha, and Gorakh in Sabadis, they are basically absolutely the same. We will be revealing these things throughout this Gorakh Sabadis and their commentaries, their notes or comments on them. This is it, friends.